Hello and welcome to episode 25 of the Slow Crafting Podcast. My name is Nadine and I'm coming to you today from the northwest of England near Manchester. This is a bi-weekly podcast about trying to incorporate a slow living or slow fashion agenda into all my crafting activities. You have to excuse me if I'm a bit flustered today. I wasn't planning on recording, but I had a last minute change of plan. So instead of going on a fairy walk through the woods with 30 odd small children, I am here without makeup, looking a little bit flushed, and recording in daylight for a change. So today I wanted to speak to you about my plans for outfit number 2 for the year. Obviously if you've watched the last 2 episodes, they were both book reviews, and I wanted to get back on track with something which was more focusing on what my plans actually were for the year. So yes, outfit 2. I have a handy drawing of what most of it will look like. So it's this. It's quite a relaxed fit knitted top and a very relaxed fit dress. Now I did and ah over both items actually, because I did think they're not going to be the most flattering on my figure. They'll probably make me look wider than I actually am, but they are going to be incredibly comfortable. So at the end of the day I thought, do you know what, I'm going for comfort and handmade. Whether it makes me look wider or skinnier is really of absolutely no importance. So here we are. Right, I don't think you can tell from this drawing. Oh yeah, you can if I hold it closer. But the knitted top, theoretically it is a jumper because it doesn't have any opening at the front, but it looks more like a cardigan. Has got fair isle patches on it, and I shall show you which jumper it is. It's out of Nordic tweed from Rowan. I think this was probably published around about 2012, 2013, because I know I got it when I was pregnant with my oldest. Just check for you. Oh, tell a lie, 2011. Right, so the cardigan jumper knitted top thing that I'm going to be knitting out of this is this one. Which, I fell in love with it when I first saw the magazine, and like I said, I've had this magazine for 5 years. But I ummed and ahed because it was a bit not fitted, but it's beautiful, and it's called Ingrid, which is the name of my oldest daughter. So I had to knit it at some point. I'm not doing it in the brown and white that it is here. If you see, there's the back picture. So the motif's not the same across the back. I think this is actually knitted in 2 pieces and then seamed up the back, if I've read the instructions correctly. And then, there we go. Obviously you've got the motifs repeating there, and then this central plain single coloured panel. I'm not doing it in the brown and white, I am doing it in some blue and white, because I do love blue. Now the wool that I'm using is from my local yarn shop. The white is a sort of a flecked, sort of tweedy white. It's called Aran Nep. It's a DK weight, and it's from Wool in It. And it's this is the countryside tweed, and I have to say that of commercial wools, this is probably commercial rather than hand spun. This is probably my favourite wool ever to knit with. It's rustic. I could wear it next to skin, but normal people probably wouldn't, because it has got a bit of a texture to it, but it's lovely and it smells sheepy, and they do sell this one online. But the other one, the blue, is some of their, I'm all tangled up, Worth Mill yarns, which they only have available in store. I don't know if it's because they're actually based in Worth Mill in Diggle. The wool's not spun there, it's spun somewhere in Yorkshire, but I don't know if this is for some of their old stock, because I know it's cheaper than the rest of the stock that they have, and like I say, it is only available in store, but they do have, I could have used some of the different shades that they've got of this countryside tweed, because they do have a similar blue, but it's got a darker blue mild through it, so I could have used those both out of the countryside tweed. But I found a full pack of this and I fell in love with it, so I'm using this instead. Yes, it's a 100% wool, British breeds, spun in Yorkshire. So yeah, it's 100% wool, and I don't think it's superwash either. Certainly I know everything that everything that I've knitted out of it so far I've washed by hand, because I don't think it is superwash, which is good. And these are the bits that I've got done so far. It's not very exciting because it's a rectangle of plain stockinette, well, 2 rectangles of plain stockinette. Oh look, all tangled up. There we go. But these are the 2 front panels that twist round each other. Kind of like that. So they would be these bits here. They do actually look a lot bigger on there than they do as I've knitted them up, but I've knitted them up to the right size, and because you knit it to a certain length and then just cast off. I think once they're blocked it'll be fine. It's just because it's stockinette that it's obviously rolling up on itself and not looking quite so long. And I've just cast on for one of the side panels at the front, which are actually worked sideways, I think. The back panels certainly are, and judging by the number count I think the side panels, the front panels are as well. So that's very exciting. Lots and lots of colour work, 2-stranded colour work in my future. Well, it is lots of stranded colour work in the future, because I've just cast on a Ridari for my other half as well, out of some Let Lopi. But that was working up ridiculously quickly, so that's very exciting. Right, the dress that I'm going to make for outfit number 2 is actually from the Stylish Dress Book by Yoshiko Tsukiori, and it's this one on the cover that I'm going to be making, but I'm not going to put the sleeves on. I'm going to make it sleeveless, because because I've got fat arms and fitting issues on sleeves are not something I want to have to deal with. I'll probably wear a long sleeve t-shirt under it anyway, so I'll layer it up. But I think my plan for a lot of my dresses was to make them without sleeves, so that one, I could fit a sleeved cardigan on top of them, because if you've got voluminous sleeves underneath a sort of cardigan that's got tight sleeves, it doesn't work really. So if I make my dresses sleeveless, then I've got more options as to what I can wear with it. And the picture on the front might not tell you a massive amount about it, because it just looks like a shapeless bag really, but here's the schematic for it. So as you can see, it's got pleating down the front and patch pockets, and it's quite loose fitting. Oh bother, I didn't bring the fabric through that I was going to use. The fabric that I'm going to use, I haven't actually dyed it yet anyway. It's just some plain white cotton that I'm going to dye with a Dylon dye pack in a indigo blue, but then the patch pockets and the back panel at the top, the yoke at the top, are going to be in some sort of yellow and blue fabric that I naturally dyed last year. So, well, apparently naturally dyed. It's got splodges of purple on it as well. It was dyed originally with, I don't know if it's one I dyed with dandelion first. No, it was one I tried to do eco printing on with sort of various flowers and plants I found across the garden, and it basically came out as a bit of a yellow background colour, and then I did a blanket dye over the top of it along with the eco printing with some Wilton's food colourings in a turquoisey blue colour, and then bundled it all up. So the purple splodges are from the honeysuckle, but it looks a bit sort of pale blue and yellow tie-dye type effect in the background. I'll show you it next time I record, because I'm not good enough at editing to go oh and seamlessly go and get it, and if I run and get it, I'll be all out of breath and panting. Which nobody wants to see in my podcast. Well, I say nobody, but there might be somebody out there that might enjoy it. Yes, anyway, moving on. To go with the dress and the cardigan top jumper thing, I'm also going to make some hand knit socks. Now this is hand spun, so it's a traditional three. Oh, is it a traditional 3-ply? Or did I chain ply it? No, I think I chain plied it. Yes. So it's a chain ply, and it's a superwash merino nylon mix, and it's the deep and meaningful colourway from Fluffy Fibres. Now I'm quite sad that Fluffy Fibres isn't trading any currently, because she did some absolutely beautiful colourways and lovely fibres, and I think quite a few of my hand spun socks are, well, I've got 4 pairs of hand spun socks. 2 are from fibres that I got from Fluffy Fibres, and this will be my 3rd pair of Fluffy Fibre hand spun socks. Not Fluffy Fibres at all, because that's different. That's a podcast, and that's with Isabel, and she's lovely. Fondant Fibre. There we go. Ah, dear me. Right. Yes. Fondant Fibre. She's not trading currently. Now I think the shop's just on hiatus rather than given up completely, but how long it'll be, I don't know. But yes, this I don't think you're getting the variety and vibrancy of the colours quite from here. I think this probably looks a lot, yeah, the yellows and greens are a lot brighter in real life. They're a bit washed out on there, but it's absolutely beautiful. And I was just going to do because it's spun up at a sport weight, I think, but I was going to knit it on my usual 2.5 needles, but go down to a 56 stitch cast on, and end up with some quite sturdy, robust socks, because I don't want them to wear out. So if I knit them so they're bulletproof, they might last a bit longer. But yes, I was just going to do a plain vanilla but with a little bit of lace on it. So mostly stockinette, but either a column of a lace stitch or just some yarn overs every now and again. I can't really decide because I don't want anything too lacy and complicated because it'll just get lost in the variegated yarn, but I do fancy something other than just plain stockinette with these. But yeah, so that'll be my socks. And the cowl or shawl or neck scarf that I was going to make with this one I was going to use this yarn from Lenitium Ex Machina, or Machine, however you pronounce it, a yarn company from Finland. They do some beautiful colourways, and this one is Eurydice on their basic sock, which is 25% superwash wool and 75% superwash wool and 25% nylon. Now, this has been in my stash for a while, so obviously I wouldn't necessarily go and buy superwash wool now, but I'm using up what's in my stash, and this is a lovely colourway. It's greys and blues and turquoises, and it's a finger in 4-ply weight, but it's quite quite fine. So I was going to make a version of the crocheted scarf that I made for my daughter for Christmas. So I don't know if you can remember seeing it. This is looking like a right bag of scraps because she was using it as a bandage on her leg yesterday, so it's all crumpled up and scrumpled and I don't know what. But yeah, so it's sort of quite plain, but then with a lace edging, and it's an elongated triangle sort of. But yes, but I wasn't sure what kind of here we go. What kind of shawl or scarf or cowl to do with the jumper, because of how it is and the shaping of the top. I wasn't sure what style of shawl would go with it, so I'm going for one in this style because it can be wrapped around to look more like a cowl, and I think that will work better than a more traditional shawl. And obviously with it being crochet, it'll work up relatively fast, and given that the main piece of the knitting is stranded colour work, that's going to take me quite a while. And another thing that might take me a while as well is that I wanted to do a bit of embroidery on the dress. I'm not quite sure what yet. I think something in a yellow and a paler blue, just to tie in the patches in the like the colours in the patch pocket and the yoke a bit more with the rest of the dress, so it doesn't just look like I've put random pieces in. And I'm thinking some kind of embroidery on the seams. Now that might sound a bit odd, but I've the last couple of weeks I've been looking at a lot of Viking costumes because my daughter is obsessed with Vikings, and I think her obsession's rubbing off, or at least I'm remembering my childhood obsession with Vikings. And yeah, so because I've been looking at a lot of Viking costumes and Viking textiles, I've noticed that a lot of them have sort of embroidered seam treatments, and I really like how that looks. Possibly because most of them seem to be done in herringbone stitch, which is one of my favourite relaxing stitches. So I might do some of that around the down the seams. We shall see. Right, yes, so that's the plan for the outfit proper. Now I would also like to try and get a sheep head hat knitted, but that might be pushing it with everything else. And realistically, because this outfit plan is to take me approximately 3 months, now I might not necessarily need the hat by the end of those 3 months, because it's going to be what, March, April, May. We might have some nice weather, but I'm also thinking, because I'm going up to see my brother in Orkney later on this year, I might need a few hats, because even if it's not cold, it's probably going to be windy, so I shall try and squeeze that in somewhere as well, and we'll see how I get on. Right, thank you very much for listening. If you've got any questions or comments, please let me know in the comments box down below. Next episode I hope to be slightly less flustered and have some finished knitting to show you. Well, not finished knitting at all. That's a massive thing I've got to knit. A bit more progress on my knitting, so it's not just plain blue stockinette for you. Right, thank you very much, and I shall speak to you again soon. Okay, bye bye.